Going on, people? Welcome to United View and welcome to Flex's View. Welcome to my view on this situation with Cristiano Ronaldo. There's been a lot said, man, in such a short space of time, actually, when there's so much more to be said. Um, Tempers are going to be high. I think emotions are going to be high from the fans. And I think we have to dissect this with the early information that we've got. So we know that the rest of the information is coming out, or the rest of the interview, the exclusive with Piers Morgan, is coming out on Wednesday and Thursday, but there's certainly enough for us to get an idea of what's to come. So I think firstly, it's important that I talk about this and we talk about this with the context we've already got. Let's just stick to the facts of what he's already said. There is going to be further context. So I think going all in and being absolutely fuming, whilst I think actually is justified with some bits of what he said, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, we have to remember that there's still more to come, and there's going to be further reaction to this, but you can't not talk about what he's been said so far, because I think actually some bits of what we got has been things that the fans would agree with, which you can talk about whether that's tactical from Ronaldo to keep people on board or not. And then there's some bits that he references when he's talking about Erik ten Hag and feeling betrayed now, which I personally find it difficult to understand. So let's get into it. I think firstly is the timing of this. This is a day where a few things could have happened yesterday, which is that Manchester United could have lost. Obviously, there's three results that could have happened. Man United win, lose or draw. But Man United could have lost and this drops. And, it's even worse and he's making it all about himself. Man United win the game, and this is Alejandro Garnacho's moment, who actually ironically idolises Ronaldo. And the moment's still about him. And we draw, and the moment's still about him. And I think that's the first place I'm going to start about this, is that you could argue that there's no good time to do this, but at the end of the day, choosing to exactly, an hour or two, or a few hours basically after the game is finished, of where everybody's talking about a team that has done well to come back and fight back, and the players are in a good space, and this team has made good progress, by the way. It's been undone by, again, the whole Ronaldo thing. Just like when we had our best, performance of the season against Spurs. And again, we may find out more about that specific thing. I don't know when this was recorded. Context will tell us. But this is my initial feelings. Just like against Spurs, when we had our best, best performance of the season as a team. And again, he made it about himself by walking off. So I didn't back him then in terms of you walking off and disappearing and not being there for his teammates. He done the brief apology thing. He's even been made captain since then. And I find it really difficult to listen to somebody, who's taking over 500 grand a week from the football club, by the way. Can't be that disrespected on a nice fat contract. To throw our new manager under the bus. Now, look, again, there's obviously going to be more things that come from this. Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to, not say his side of the story, which, okay, fair enough. Some may say is refreshing. Time in, and whilst you're still a player, me personally, I don't think the time is now. Whilst you're taking so much money from the club, whilst you've been refusing to come on, whilst you want to move, but obviously he's going to say things that we need to hear, that he feels we need to hear, and fine, we need to wait to reserve judgment. But Erik ten Hag, in my opinion, right, is somebody who's starting to take this team forward. And even if it fails in 3 years, you cannot deny that at this point in time, he's getting players to tune in or tune out. And he's trying to decipher who's part of that. Now, to me, it just seems like Cristiano Ronaldo's had the biggest gripe because he's just no longer the main man. He's a GOAT of the game. He's somebody who's been at the top of his game for so long. And a new manager's come in and didn't fancy him. And that's a problem for Ronaldo. And I think that he's struggled to deal with that in his mind as an elite footballer and at the top of his game. And I think he's dealt with that in completely the wrong way. Stropping, storming off, walking off. And as we know in the media, obviously looking for a move because he's not flavour of the month. He's not going to be the number one striker at Man United. And to take that out on Erik ten Hag, to say I feel betrayed. And look, again, we're going to find out on Wednesday and Thursday probably some more context to that. But already, to dig out Erik ten Hag, who's made him captain in his last appearance, who's continually stood by Ronaldo. I saw what happened against Real Vallecano in that friendly. I was sat in the press box, literally on the edge of the players' box, and I saw the players that weren't in that matchday squad, right? And I saw Ronaldo was the only player who was in that matchday squad who walked off, and other players were led out by security like it was organised. However, fine. He got given the benefit of the doubt, and Ten Hag even protected him in that situation and put all the players into one bubble and said, we all don't do that, we're all a team. Laid down the law. A few months later, he then walks off again. Tatty by, you're out of the Chelsea game, you're getting fined, you're getting disciplined. Then he reintegrates him and still has, tough words to say, but still deals with it, gets it done quickly, gets him back in the team. He scores against Sharif, I think it is. Gets his goal. He gets an assist against Real Sociedad and plays a few games. Injuries permitting, make him play, but he plays. Ten Hag still has to rely on him. That's why I think Eric Ten Hag played this perfectly. Only, in my opinion, thus far, to be absolutely shat on by Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of not having that same respect back. Now, look, listen, I was very, very particular and strong on the fact that in the summer, when Cristiano Ronaldo mentioned his family, that the reason why he was off was for his family, that I think we all needed to be a little bit careful there. Even though there were things going on in the background and, the media who have been saying things, no problem. He's going to highlight a lot of the things they've said as being false. Because remember, Ronaldo said he was going to do this a while ago, this interview. He said in 2 weeks it all will be revealed, and it just got delayed until now. And we kind of thought, where's that gone? Here it is. The loss of his child last year, and I think there's some quotes that saying that obviously he doesn't feel that the club was sympathetic towards his young girl being ill. So those are sketchy areas, and I think when a man or a woman or somebody's family is involved in these things, or they're making them involved in this, it in my opinion, if you're a decent human being, you have to be careful with the things you say and what you label around. And even at the time, I made sure on United View, especially when we had strong views that he wasn't on a tour and what we might think it may be, the man said it was a family issue. So I wasn't saying he was disgraced for not going on tour and stuff like that. And I know all the stuff that kind of came after that, him being behind in pre-season as a result, George Mendes trying to get him new deals. We're going to have to wait till Wednesday and Thursday to find out whether Ronaldo was trying to find a new club or not. We're also going to have to wait till then to find out why he feels so aggrieved. So that bit, that's neither here or there. I can't really go in on that at this far, in my opinion anyway. Another thing that I think he's trying to kind of mix the waters that can kind of gain support is this thing standing up against the Glazers and calling out the standards of the football club. So here's the thing, right? Did I disagree when Ronaldo said the facilities are still the same? The infrastructure is basically not there to make us like City and Liverpool and Arsenal. Since I came back here as a 22, 23, 24-year-old, since Sir Alex left, nothing's changed. Absolutely. These are things that we know. Gary Neville's on Sky Sports. When we've been our worst moment last year, these are things that all the top pundits says. These are things that all the fans have said. These are things that fans protest against. However, I don't think that's coming from a place of sincerity. I think it's coming from a place of, but look, remember all this. But look, the Glazers this. But look, the training ground this. We know that. I know that the Glazers haven't been good owners. We talk about it all the time. I know the fact that the training ground, needs work and the club want to change it and stuff like that. But what did Ronaldo expect? Did he think he was walking into a polished Man United? He's acting like before he signed that massive contract for record-breaking figures to come back, which most of us got behind, by the way. He's acting like he didn't know these things. Okay, he's had a shock because he's coming from the highest level. I understand that. He's used to winning. But this is a Ronaldo in decline. This is a Manchester United that's on its knees. So whilst he's highlighting things that are true, I cannot disagree with what Ronaldo said. I question the motives behind it because I feel like he's trying to use that to excuse some of the behaviour that he's been displaying. And to go in on Rooney, our record goal scorer, by the way, someone who's had his trials and tribulations at Man United, he said he wanted to leave. That was the first thing David Moyes had to sort out when Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club, was sorting out Wayne Rooney's future. When a few years before that, I remember Wayne Rooney saying, questioning he wanted to leave and not looking at where the club's direction was going and things like that. These things happen. But to go in on Wayne Rooney, who's been the only Man United legend, by the way, in my opinion, to actually call out Cristiano's pathetic behaviour against Spurs when he wanted to make it all about himself, to go in on him and talk about his appearance and talk about, he's probably angry because I'm still playing and he's not, and he'll probably say, it's pathetic, in my opinion. And that just shows that as soon as you criticise Ronaldo, you've done the same thing to Gary Neville. All of a sudden, Gary Neville spoke correctly, by the way, in my opinion, by not defending his actions against Spurs of walking off. There's things behind the scenes what happened. There's things that we're going to find out on Wednesday and Thursday, but you do not walk off the pitch and refuse to come on and drive home. You don't do that. You sort it out with the manager afterwards. You have a discussion afterwards and you work it out. You can even, we may even be told that he told me I'll be coming on at half time, or he told me I'll be starting the game, or I don't give a crap what it is. You don't walk off live in front of 75,000 people when the team has put in the best performance that they've made. Yeah, you gave a high five to Sancho and somebody else coming on. Then you just pissed off. But because Wayne Rooney was the only person to actually come out and say he was wrong, only Man United legend, directly say he was wrong, and Gary Neville, he then doesn't shake Gary Neville's hand. He's then going in on Wayne Rooney because he's put on a few pounds and that's just Rooney's body type. Again, showing the side that is hard to defend. It's hard to get behind. So, look, I 100% accept there is more to come on this. There is so much more to come on this. But initially, I think it's bad. And another thing is going to the Sun and Piers Morgan to do this. Piers Morgan, right, is one, he's Piers Morgan. So we know what he's all about. And I think it's a very calculated thing to go to somebody like Piers Morgan for this. Okay, he's your friend. You've known him a very long time. Piers Morgan's always defended and Piers Morgan's always made it clear that they're friends. Piers Morgan's recently been, doing Kanye West interviews, which are highly controversial. He's been doing Andrew Tate interviews, which we know are highly controversial. And now he's done this. And for Ronaldo to go there, I think only shows one thing. Ronaldo isn't going to go there and make himself look bad, is he? And the club have kind of refused to comment, but there's been some things coming out from Kaveh Solikov as well. And I think there was a reluctance to speak yesterday because they wanted to keep the focus on the team that had just come back. And I think that's the right line, because now what they have to do, there's no way back. There's no way back for Cristiano Ronaldo. That's the reason why he's decided to do this now, pretend he was ill and not come back. Let's get that out of the way. That's I think what we can say. I'll be absolutely stunned if he played for Man United again. I don't think he should. He's literally shat on all of his teammates. And I think to some extent, the fans, I think he gives it, the fans deserve to know I love the fans and stuff like that. But if we just look at his behaviour, he just hasn't dealt with it with someone who cares about the fans, and that's why I think it's difficult. It's now entering into the territory of you're kind of scathing your legacy. I tried to stay away from saying he's tarnished his legacy, but I think with what's about to happen and what's happening now, he's going to be most recently remembered from this. All the trophies he won the first time, etc. And he's drawing back to the times he was here under Sir Alex Ferguson. He done an interview last year talking about, the standards and youngsters don't listen to me and stuff like that. All of which I actually backed Ronaldo. This is the thing. I'm just able to draw a line. That's fine. There's still some people completely excusing what he's done. And whilst I reiterate this, there is more context to come. There is more quotes. The whole interview is going to drop and we're going to see it. But I think with what he's already said, in terms of the stuff on Eric Ten Hag, to me, that's a no-go. This is a guy who's trying to rebuild the shit that us fans already know is there. We don't need, because some people are glorifying what Ronaldo's saying and saying, well, he's calling out the board, the Glazers, he's saying the standards are poor. He's saying, he's only saying what we've been saying for years. And that's what I'm saying. Essentially, I agree with that bit. I do. He is saying what we've been saying for years. He's saying the very thing that we've been protesting for. But do not get this twisted, in my opinion anyway. In my opinion, this is still all about what it's always been about. And that's himself. That's Cristiano Ronaldo. This is the guy who cleared out his locker at Juventus and just dipped because he can. This is a guy that essentially, I think, there's signs that he thinks he's more powerful than football. He thinks he's more powerful than Manchester United. Eric Cantona left this football club. Roy Keane left this football club. Jaap Stam wrote this football club and went on to write a book and didn't say a damn bad word about Harry Maguire, Sir Alex Ferguson. Ruud van Nistelrooy left this football club. Andy Cole left this football club. Peter Schmeichel left this football club. The list goes on. The list goes on. Brian Robson left this football club. At the time, Paul Ince, who was a fantastic player, pretty much his whole career, but had a big impact on Manchester United in the early 90s, left this football club. Massive players have left this football club. And Ronaldo's about to do it for a second time over when he's not even our best player anymore. or our most influential player anyway. Um, and it's almost like he thinks he's higher than the club, bigger than the club. I don't buy it. And to go in on a manager who I think has played this perfectly. As soon as Eric Ten Hag walked through the door, he may have decided that Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't his cup of tea. He may have decided that Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't going to start the games and he wanted to go in a different direction. But what did he say throughout the summer? He was very, very clear. He even had people criticize him, saying, "Why are you keeping him?" Now, don't get me wrong. In this next bit of the interview, of when it drops, he may say something along the lines of, I told the club I wanted to leave in the summer and they didn't let me. Because let's face it, it's only going to get worse from here on out. That maybe that is the worst that he says about the actual club. And then he talks about his personal trials and tribulations and the stuff that went on with his family and the loss of his child, all of which the human element of that should absolutely be respected. That's a very, very difficult thing to go through. I don't not understand that. But I just think there's going to be more to come in terms of the team and how he feels betrayed. He's even talking about last season when he was our top goal scorer, and a lot of people were defending him at the football club, that they wanted him out even then, you know. And look, you could look at it as a mistake from the club to bring him back and all that money, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, Ronaldo signed the contract. Ronaldo's taking the money every week, sitting fat on the contract. So look, I just think the timing's bad. I can respect that he's been at the top of the game for a long time and he's struggled to understand that he's not the main guy. But I just think that he's dealt with this in completely the wrong fashion. And to do this again on a time when the spotlight should not be about him, he makes it about him again. And I think there's so much more to come from this that it's going to be more scathing. And when you read some of the quotes from Kaveh Solokov, where he's talking about how the club and some of the players have responded. Now, this isn't an official line from Manchester United, but he's saying that Man United's management and players don't understand why Cristiano said what he said. They are hugely disappointed that he would disrespect the club, his manager and teammates in this way. Now, what we got from people like Samuel Luckhurst and other people is that the club declined to comment, but Carve's come quite strong with some quotes there, and I don't think he would go down that line if he didn't get it from a very, very reliable source. He also says Ten Hag and United players are extremely disappointed with the manner and timing of Cristiano Ronaldo's interview. The club only found out about the interview as they were preparing to fly back from London this evening. And I think James Ducker from The Telegraph actually said Man United are not commenting on Cristiano Ronaldo's interview. Sources indicate the club will not allow it to take anything away from today's win. So again, they want to keep the focus there, but that's also thinking time. That's also planning time and time for calm. And that's what the club absolutely should do. It's a good thing in terms of, again, this is why Ronaldo's been very strategic about when he's dropped this interview. This has kind of come out just before the World Cup where there's downtime. So the club can go and get a little bit of tranquility and peace and all get around the table and work out how they're going to play this. But there can't be any way back. He said I don't rate the manager. He said live on Piers Morgan, I don't rate the manager. You can't play for a manager you don't rate. Can't play for a manager you don't rate. So tatty bye, see you later. Now he's on a lot of money. I don't know what it's going to cost to pay Ronaldo off. Some people may even say, leave him in the reserves, or not even with the reserves. Just say you're not coming to training or whatever. But that means Manchester United have to fork out an awful lot of money for a player who doesn't want to be here, doesn't want to play for this manager. So I think that's it. It's done. They have to find a way to terminate this contract. And it's sad. It is sad because I think the reason why Ronaldo is doing this and saying this in this manner so strong at this point as well is because ultimately he knows it's over already, because it's done. But there's more to come from this. I think we do need to remember that, and it's going to be very interesting. We'll be reacting to it the whole way. I think I've tried to be fair where I could. I've tried to look at it, calmly, considering there's more to come, considering there needs to be more context to this. But I think with what he's already said, there's no going back, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. And I think it was calculated. And to go to Piers Morgan, of all people, Piers Morgan's interest in this is not going to be, finding out the Manchester United side and making Man United look good at the end of it. Of course not. So there you go. That's my initial thoughts. I think it's a very difficult subject to do at this point, especially when there's other co-plots to it where Ronaldo will probably talk about how difficult it was for him and his family last year, which I stand by is difficult, which I stand by he shouldn't get criticised for. But the bits that he said about Eric Ten Hag already and probably what's about to come are probably going to be indefensible. But we shall wait and see. But yeah, it's just not what you want anyway. I'll be back with another video soon, and so will the guys on UV. We'll all be back with another video soon, and we'll speak again. Take care. Peace.